up, brother. Get ready on 5.
Well, hello. We have breaking news that we must cover today, so let's get ready. American Congress, the greatest show on earth. Warning, this might be disturbing to children.
I do think the House of Representatives at this time is an unsafe place for children and other living things. And I was smiling and singing.
Well, Dr. Fauci, 59% of Americans and 81% of Republicans do not have a favorable opinion of you. Frankly, honestly, you've lost your reputation. The American people don't trust the words coming out of your mouth. Every day you appear on TV, you do more damage than good when it comes to educating the public on COVID.
I think it's time that you resign.
Project Veritas has obtained never-before-seen military documents regarding the origins of COVID-19, gain-of-function research, vaccines, potential treatments which have been suppressed, and the government's effort to conceal all of this. Dr. Anthony Fauci has testified many times before Congress stating that the U.S. government was never involved in gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Then it distorted and said, we funded the grant. We have never seen that grant, and we have never funded that grant. So,
National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases grant number. Principal investigator is Peter Daszak. Project title: Understanding the Risk of Bat Coronavirus Emergence. Interesting numbers.
once again, you are completely and unequivocally incorrect when you joined the DARPA proposal. Was a grant that we never saw and we did not fund. So you are incorrect.
Our social media will have all the supporting documents, and we'll be supporting this in the record as well.
You're backing down on this? Why don't we go and look at the Veritas statement that we're talking about a grant that was submitted to DARPA?
Are you saying this was not? Are you saying that this was viral gain-of-function research?
I'm telling you that you're saying.
Are you saying that this was not viral gain-of-function research?
By the definition that you are very well aware.
With your B3CO definition, it's just a legalese to get away to allow you to do the viral gain-of-function studies.
Senator.
Senator Marshall, please allow the witness to respond.
Senator, we know, and the misinformation, that the guide rails for what can be done or not were not established by me. They were established by a 3-year process led by the Office of Science and Technology Policy of the White House.
And decided by you in a secret meeting at the White House in December of 2019.
Senator, that is incorrect. And this refers exactly to what I was talking about in response to Senator Rand Paul.
You should never have to settle for half the story and then make up and imagine the rest. Here, you get the full story. Before we continue, let us go to a commercial break.
Hello, ladies. How are you? Fantastic. Does your man look like me? No. Can he smell like me? Yes. Should he use Old Spice body wash? I don't know. Do you like the smell of adventure? Do you want a man who smells like he can bake you a gourmet cake in the dream kitchen he built for you with his own hands? Of course you do. So, ladies, should your man smell like an Old Spice man?
It will make you feel so powerful to blow your mind right in front of your face. Goodbye. Oh no! Power!
And now for the main event.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, from the capital city of the United States of America, Washington, D.C., ladies and gentlemen, Let's get ready to rumble!
Dr. Fauci, the idea that a government official like yourself would claim unilaterally to represent science, that any criticism of you would be considered a criticism of science itself, is quite dangerous. Central planning, whether it be of the economy or of science, is risky because of the fallibility of the planner. It would not be so catastrophic if the planner were simply one physician in Peoria. Then the mistakes would only affect that physician's patients, the people who chose that position. But when the planner is a government official, like yourself, who rules by mandate, the errors are compounded and become much more harmful. A planner who believes he is the science.
So if they get up and criticize science, nobody's going to know what they're talking about. But if they get up and really aim their bullets at Tony Fauci, well, people can recognize there's a person there, there's a face, there's a voice you can recognize, you see him on television. So it's easy to criticize, but they're really criticizing science because I represent science. That's dangerous.
Leads to an arrogance that justifies, in his mind, using government resources to smear and to destroy the reputations of other scientists who disagree with him. In an email exchange with Dr. Collins, you conspire, and I quote here directly from the email, to create a quick and devastating published takedown of 3 prominent epidemiologists from Harvard, Oxford, and Stanford. Apparently there's a lot of fringe epidemiologists at Harvard, Oxford, and Stanford. And you quote in the email that they were from Dr. Collins, and you agree that they are fringe. And immediately there's this takedown ethic. A published takedown, though, doesn't exactly conjure up the image of a dispassionate scientist. Instead of engaging them on the merits, you and Dr. Collins sought to smear them as fringe and take them down. And not in journals, in lay press. This is not only antithetical to the scientific method, it's the epitome of cheap politics, and it's reprehensible, Dr. Fauci. Do you really think it's appropriate to use your $420,000 salary to attack scientists that disagree with you?
The email you're referring to was an email of Dr. Collins to me. If you look at the email
That you responded to and hurried up and said, I can do it. We got something in Wired magazine.
No. I think in usual fashion, Senator, you are distorting everything about me.
Did you ever object to Dr. Collins' characterization of them as fringe? Did you write back to Dr. Collins and say, no, they're not fringe, they're esteemed scientists, and it would be beneath me
I did not
to do that? You responded to him that you would do it, and you immediately got an article in Wired, and you sent it back to him and said, hey, look, I've got him, I nailed him in Wired of all scientific
That's not what
publications.
went on.
Of all
That's
scientific
not what
publications.
went on. There you go again.
That was your
just do
response.
the same thing every hearing.
That was your response. And
So-
this wasn't the only time. So your desire to take
You're
down
absolutely
people.
incorrect. As usual, Senator, you are incorrect almost everything you said.
No, you deny, but the emails can tell the truth of this.
No.
This wasn't the only time. Your desire to take down those who disagree with you didn't stop with Harvard, Oxford, and Stanford. You conspired with Peter Daszak, who you communicated with privately, and other members of the scientific community that wrote opinion pieces for Nature. 5 of them signed a paper for Nature, an opinion piece. 17 signed a paper that called it conspiracy theory, the idea that the virus could have originated in the lab. Do you think words like conspiracy theory should be in a scientific paper?
Senator, I never used that word when I was referring to it. You're distorting virtually everything.
Did you communicate with the 5 scientists who wrote the opinion piece in Nature where they were describing, there's no way this could have come from the lab?
That was not me. What I did.
Did you talk with any of those scientists privately?
You keep distorting the truth. It is stunning how
Did you talk to any of the scientists privately?
Yes.
Who wrote the opinion? You did. Well, what were they telling you privately?
Well, let me explain. You're going back to that original discussion when I brought together a group of people to look at every possibility with an open mind. So not only are you distorting it, you're completely turning it around as
most of the scientists that came to you privately, did they come to you privately and say, no way, this came from the lab? Was their initial impression, Dr. Gary and others that were involved, was their initial impression actually that it looked very suspicious for a virus that came from a lab? Senate, for a virus that came from a lab. Senate, we are here at a committee to look at a virus now that has killed almost 900,000 people. And the purpose of the committee was to try and get things out, how we can help to get the American public. And you keep coming back to personal attacks on me that have absolutely no relevance to reality. Do you think anybody has had more influence over a response to this than you have? Do you think it's a great success? Do you think it's a great success what's happened so far? Do you think the lockdowns were good for our kids? Do you think we slowed down the death rate? More people have died now under President Biden than did under President Trump. You are the one responsible. You are the architect. You are the lead architect for the response from the government. And now 800,000 people have died. Right. Do you think it's a winning success what you've advocated for government? Senator, first of all, if you look at everything that I said, you accuse me of in a monolithic way telling people what they need to do. Everything that I've said has been in support of the CDC guidelines. Wear a mask, get boosted. And you've advocated to make it coercive take a look at everything that I said. To be done by mandate. But you've advocated that your infallible opinion be dictated by law. Right. So again, Madam Chair, I would like just a couple of minutes because this happens all the time. You personally attack me, and with absolutely not a shred of evidence of anything you say. So I would like to make something clear to the committee. He's doing this for political reasons. What you need to do is, he said in front of this committee. You think your takedown of prominent epidemiologists was not political? You don't want me to finish, but you know what I'm going to say. That was the question.
Senator,
were you political in taking down these three prominent epidemiologists?
Senator Paul, if you would please, I'm going to allow Dr. Fauci to respond. We have a number of senators who would like to ask questions, and I would like him to be able to respond, please.
So, the last time we had a committee, or the time before, he was accusing me of being responsible for the death of 4 to 5 million people, which is really irresponsible. And I said, why is he doing that? There are two reasons why that's really bad. The first is it distracts from what we're all trying to do here today, is get our arms around the epidemic and the pandemic that we're dealing with, not something imaginary. Number two, what happens when he gets out and accuses me of things that are completely untrue is that all of a sudden that kindles the crazies out there, and I have threats upon my life, harassment of my family and my children with obscene phone calls because people are lying about me. Now, I guess you could say, well, that's the way it goes. I can take the hit. Well, it makes a difference because, as some of you may know, just about 3 or 4 weeks ago, on December 21st, a person was arrested who was on their way from Sacramento to Washington, D.C. at a speed stop in Iowa. And the police asked him where he was going, and he was going to Washington, D.C. to kill Dr. Fauci. And they found in his car an AR-15 and multiple magazines of ammunition because he thinks that maybe I'm killing people. So I asked myself, why would Senator want to do this? So go to Rand Paul website and you see Fire Dr. Fauci with a little box that says, contribute here. You can do $5, $10, $20, $100. So you are making a catastrophic epidemic for your political gain. So the
You
only
have
thing
politically
the only
attacked
thing that I
your
can-
colleagues and in a politically reprehensible
The only
way
thing that I
attacked their
could think of-
reputations.
Okay,
You won't defend it.
No,
you won't
well,
argue it.
I'm
You'll just
sorry,
simply
we're
turn around
going
the
to
attack.
continue this hearing. We
Yeah.
have a number of
Right.
questions from
Just
other senators.
one more minute, please.
Well,
If
Dr.
my-
Fauci, I really appreciate your response, but we do have a number of questions from senators, and we do have a second round, and I'm being asked to make sure that everybody has their time, so thank you.
Thank you very much for allowing me.
We also have footage of Dr. Fauci calling Senator a moron on a hot mic. Here is a post-match with Anderson
Senator
Cooper.
Paul, apart from many others who've attacked you, is that he actually graduated from medical school. He's a medical doctor, which I find remarkable. How do you square that with what is coming out of his mouth? Because, you said what we're all here for today, talking about the panel in front of you, clearly what he is there for, and many of those are there for, as are many public hearings, is to make sound bites that get attention and, again, spur donations on his website.
That is true, Anderson, and it really is unfortunate. I mean, putting me aside with all the ad hominems and the things that you showed on that film, the hearing was a very important hearing. So, I mean, even the Republican senators were asking good, tough questions, and we should be having to respond to tough questions. And yet, the only thing that came out of Senator Rand Paul and to some extent Senator Roger Marshall were ad hominems, which does nothing but distract from what we really need to be doing. We have a pandemic that everyone knows right now is like a tsunami on us. We're going to have close to 1 million people a day getting infected, and we have close to 1 million people who are going to die, and we have close to 1 million people who are going to die, 850,000 people dying, and instead of using it in a constructive manner, they're distracting it with things that are patently untrue. You call me a murderer and say I'm responsible for ridiculous, preposterous, slanderous statements, responsible for the deaths of 5 million people, doing this and doing that. It's not me that's making myself polarizing, it's him.
In courtrooms, lawyers aren't supposed to ask a question of a defendant that they don't already know the answer to. That's a lesson that one senator clearly has not learned. Senator Roger Marshall said something to you today, and I just want to play this for viewers because, it was one of those things I found kind of stunning.
As the highest paid employee in the entire federal government, yes or no, would you be willing to submit to Congress and the public a financial disclosure that includes your past and current investments?
I don't understand why you're asking me that question. My financial disclosure is public knowledge and has been so for the last 37 years or so, 35 years that I've been
The
director.
big tech, where would we find it?
All you have to do is ask for it. You're so misinformed, it's extraordinary.
Why
Senator
we look forward to
Marshall,
reviewing it?
Senator Marshall, Dr. Fauci has answered you. It is public information, and he's happy to give it to you if you would ask. Senator Moran.
What a moron. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
So let me just tell you, just as someone who exists on television, I can tell you someone wrote that question for him. The way I know this is because he's looking down at his piece of paper, just reading this question that has clearly been written for him. Someone has made, unfortunately, a large, giant check, looking down at this was going to be this big kind of, extraordinary reveal, obviously with great setup, and this is what his staff has been preparing him to ask.
And there you have it. Whether it's TV news, online news, there is a certain responsibility to sort out opinions from facts. We hope you continue to join us. We don't tell the news, we let them tell it. God bless everyone. Have a good year and just be good.